Okay, sorry. Yeah, in the last session, what we have discussed on select options, right? So
Yes,
we have used select options in the program. So how it is different from parameter?
we can add multiple single values or we can add ranges. Whereas
Yes,
in parameter, it is only the exact value.
single value, right? So if you don't pass any value in the parameter, so what about the select statement status? Is it going to select any data or fails?
It
It
will
will
not
fail
show
or it
that.
will give the data which is empty.
Yes. So it is either fail. For example, if you are passing city, it will in the where condition where city equal to parameter name. Then what it will check exact value whatever you are passing in the parameter, or if you are not passing any input, it will check for blank space. If the city value is empty, then it will select those records, right? So it is always exact value for parameters. What about select options? We can pass multiple single values, multiple ranges by using select options. We can also exclude the records. We can also exclude the records, right? By using select options. Exclude single values as well as exclude multiple
Ranges.
ranges, right? So how to build a select option structure to pass default values?
In
First, we should define an
initialization.
field.
Yeah. Anyway, first we need to define select option. The syntax is there are multiple ways. One way is define a variable for the field which you want to define the select option, right? And then use the select option syntax to define the select option by using that variable name reference, and then populate the select option structure in initialization event with default values whenever you need to populate default values, right?
Yes.
So you can append multiple records with multiple single values or multiple ranges. What if select option is empty? It will just ignore the where condition.
Where condition.
It will select all the records available in the table, right? Or
Yes,
if
sir.
you are using multiple fields in the where condition, right? It will go by other fields. It will check the other fields. Okay. It will ignore this select option. Okay. So when you are using select options, so you need to make sure like user should not execute without any value in it. In some cases, if that field is a non-primary key, right? If that field is a non-primary key field, then what will happen if user does not enter anything? It will try to select everything from the table and it will create performance issues, right? So we need, when we are using select options, we need to make sure the user is providing some input. Okay. We need to analyze like the field which we are using for the select option. So what would be the data value, right? We need to analyze that. Okay. So then we'll go back to merging multiple internal tables. So as we discussed earlier, when we are creating any application or program, so we need to select data from different sources, different tables, right? Because the data is denormalized into multiple tables. Like we don't store all the data in same table, because if we store everything in the same table, we need to maintain a lot of duplicate entries, right? It will take a lot of database space. So that's why in any database system, right, we split data into different tables. Okay. And once we select data from multiple tables, the output should be same, one single output, right? Whatever the output we are displaying, we need to display in a one single output, not multiple outputs we display, right? So for each table. So we should display one consolidated output in some report format, proper report format, in an organized way, right? For that, what we need to do? We need to combine all the tables out records into one single internal table, and there should be a common field between all these different internal tables. So then only we can relate one internal table record with the other internal table record. Okay, it is not necessary to have same field as a common field in all the internal tables, but there should be some field, right, between all these internal tables. So let's take this employee example, and then we'll create another example on sales order or purchase order. So here first we are selecting employee master data, and then employee salary data, and then employee master data, sorry, month master data. So like to combine this data, what is necessary? A loop statement is necessary, right? We can use one internal table inside the loop statement, but how can you choose that internal table? Which internal table you need to loop?
Which is having 1 to n relation.
Yeah, what is, see, let's say we are selecting employee salary data, and if you consider employee ID as our primary key, check in which table it is repeating, right? In which table that employee ID is having repeated entries, right? Multiple entries. So employee ID, employee master table contains unique records for each employee because employee ID is the primary key, right? But if you consider employee salary data, records are repeating or not for the same employee for different
Yes, sir.
months. So, so we can consider it as a cardinality as 1 to n. For each employee record, we have n records. For each employee value, we have n number of records in this table. So we need to loop this table to capture all the records of this employee. Okay. So let's create a program and check.
Sir, what if we have only like there's no repetition, sir?
There is no repetition, then any table would be fine.
Okay.
Check the primary keys, right? Check the primary keys in the source table. Here, even the records are not repeating. When you check the data, the records are not repeating. But don't consider any table, right? Check what are the primary keys of the source tables. For this employee master data, employee ID is the primary key. For this employee salary data, employee ID, and there is one more primary key, month. So there
Month.
is a chance of repeated records, right, for each employee. With the
Yes, sir.
combination of employee ID and month, there is a chance of multiple records. Currently, there may not be any repeated records, but in future, it is possible, right? Because here the primary key is employee ID and month, right? So take the records with like multiple records possibility. Okay.
Yes, sir.
In advanced ABAP syntaxes, we have other options uh, which will replace the loop statement. Okay. First, but before that, we need to understand the loop. Then, when we are discussing on ABAP, advanced ABAP 7.4 syntaxes, we'll see how we can replace this loop with we have for loop, for statement. We can replace loop with that for in some cases. We'll see that later. So let's create a program. Looks like someone deleted this table.
Sir, in 22 it is there, sir.
Oh, sorry, I logged in. Five entries here. Let me maintain some salary data. Looks like table maintenance is not available. I will maintain here the table contents. Oh, sorry. I think we don't have month field here. Let me take the other table. Yesterday we have seen one program, right? I'll take that. Ramya, you created one program, right? What is that?
Sir, this table was ZR program merge or something, sir.
Okay, okay. ZR. I think this one. Okay, I'll take this table. Yes, we have month here. Even employee salary month, year also there. Okay, good. So instead of two different things, so we can have a date so that it will cover both. Anyway, it would be useful for us now. Let me maintain some records as per our master data table, or I'll use the same master data table here. What is the table? Yeah, I'll use the same master data table. The demo employee data so that I don't need to maintain proper data again. So we have the data here. So what is the primary key in this employee master data?
Employee ID.
Employee ID. Now let's check the salary data. In salary data, we have multiple primary keys. Employee ID, usually we don't need, so I don't know why you created employee name, but employee name is not required in employee salary data, right? So we need to consider only employee ID, employee month and year, and employee salary. These three primary, at least. Employee name is not necessary here in employee salary data, right? Because that is already there in employee master data, right? Why we need to maintain it multiple places. right?
Yes, sir.
So what is the common field between employee master data and employee salary data? Employee ID, right? There is one common field. Then what is the next data I need to have? I wanted to display month ID, right? Here as per our example, I want to display month name. But here in this table, we are not maintaining the month name. Where we can find the month name? In the other table, that is employee month. There is a month master table where we have month ID and corresponding month name, right? Now we need to find what is your condition. How we want to select the data based on which condition, right? First, we need to design the selection screen, right, for the program. So we have identified the tables. Now we need to find the selection screen. So what is the input for your program? What are the different possibilities to select the data from these tables?
Using parameters or select options.
Yeah, using parameters or select options. What are the different possibilities of data selection? So we can select data by employee ID, one employee ID, so that we can display data of one employee ID at a time, or we can take select options to display data from multiple employee IDs, to display data of multiple employee IDs, right? By providing multiple single values or ranges. The other alternative, select employee salary data by city. I want to see employee salary data by city. In each city, I want to see employees and their corresponding salaries. That is another possibility, right? Here also, you can take single parameter to select data of single city at a time, or you can take select option to select data of multiple cities at a time, right? What is the other possibility? Select data by month. Each month, who are the employees got the salary, right? Month wise data, we can also display that, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So these are the different possibilities. So when we are creating the program, someone will functional or someone will give you this input. Hey, I want to see data by city, or data by employee ID, or I want to see each month data or multiple months data, right? So you need to select data by month ID, or you need to select data by city, depends on the scenario, right? So in this example, let's take city, create a program. So as I told you earlier, when you are creating the program, first don't concentrate on everything. Divide your program into how many blocks?
4 blocks.
Selection screen design, default values. Yeah, default values anyway. Selection screen design, default values. Keep this in a one block. That means selection screen design and initialization event. Keep this as one block. And then validations.
Validation.
Validating the selection screen inputs. That is another block. Then business
Start of
logic
Business logic.
in start of selection. Business logic. And another last block is displaying
End
the
of
end of
output.
selection.
Displaying the output. Right? First design the selection screen. not using any title, frame title. Now define your inputs. What is my input here in this program?
City.
City. You can also take multiple inputs. First define the variable. Do you want to select a single city every time, or do you want to provide the option to enter multiple cities? So let's assume we should provide the option for the user to enter multiple cities. For that reason, I'm defining select option. First define one variable for the city to define the select option. So what is the data element we are using in the table?
Jatramya city, sir.
Okay. What is the syntax to define the select option?
Select
Select options.
Select options and the select option name. Give
Name
some name. SO
for
city
for
SCT.
for S city.
sir, we are taking city, but city is not a common field for any two tables, sir.
Correct. That's not necessary to have a common field to select the data, but to combine, to merge the data, right? So once we select the data, why we are using this select option? To select the data, right? To pass it in the where condition, select statement where condition, right?
Sir,
So it is not necessary to have a common field. First we select, but there should be a common field between different internal tables. That's not necessary to have this select option field, whatever the select option field we are taking. Okay. Okay. Do you want a single input or multiple inputs? You can also take multiple inputs. Did you maintain the gender? Okay. Let's take gender as another input. I want to take it as a parameter so that user can select one gender at
only
a time.
one gender.
Type the data element. Similarly, you can take multiple inputs to filter data, right?
Yes, sir.
So sometimes when you observe performance issues in the program, right? So we suggest users to filter data using more inputs, more input parameters. Sometimes we select data with only one or two parameters, so it's trying to fetch everything from the table. Maybe sometimes unnecessary data also. So that's why we need to filter the data as much as possible, okay, to improve the performance of the program.
Sir, can we give variable inside the selection screen, sir, for select options? Can
No,
we define the variable?
no. So, see, you can define the variable, but we cannot use variables in selection screen.
Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of variable? Store some
For
value,
for
right?
a value. Yes, sir.
Just to store some value. That's it. But parameters and select options, this will display in the selection screen, right?
Yes, sir.
We are providing the user to enter dynamic values, different value every time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now selection screen inputs are completed. Now
Validation. So initialization.
Initialization. If you want to pass any default values, use initialization event. For example, I want to pass some default city so that user doesn't need to enter inputs every time whenever he or she executing the program, right? How to pass
Yes,
default
sir.
values?
SOCT
Hyphen
hyphen
low.
low city name.
Do you
Then
want to pass?
SOCT.
Usually doesn't make any sense, right? If you pass ranges for cities,
Yes, sir.
for
Yes, sir.
city data, we can't pass ranges. It will accept. If you pass, it will accept, but that doesn't make any sense, right? So pass single values. What is it?
Sign.
Sign.
Fine.
Do you want to select exclude or
Include.
include?
Include.
Include, sir.
Include. What is the next field?
Option.
Yes, sir. Option.
Option.
Equal to, sir.
Option equal to or between.
Equal to,
Equal to.
sir.
Equal to.
Equal to sir.
And what next? That's it,
We
right?
have
Append.
to append,
Append. So for this append, right, we have alternatives in new ABAP syntaxes. Okay, you don't need to use append. We can simply build the select option structure using new ABAP syntaxes. We'll see that later. First, we need to understand the concept. That's it. Okay, we'll see the new ABAP syntaxes later. Do you want to pass any default values to parameter? If you want to pass, simply p underscore parameter name equal to some value, male or female, whatever. Okay. Now my selection screen part is completed. What is next? What is the next step I have to do?
Validate.
No. First test this. First test this. Okay. Is this working as expected or not? I have to provide text elements. Test this. Okay. Whether my selection screen is working as expected or not. It is populating default value to the select option. Yeah, it is as expected, right?
Parameter default value.
No, I did not pass the default value. Okay, that's why it is not displaying.
Okay.
Okay, I just removed it. Then what is the next step?
sir. Selection.
Selection
Selection of
screen
city.
Validation.
validations. So what is my requirement here? I don't want to allow the user to execute this program without entering any city with blank
Validation.
city. How can you do that validation?
If
If so
SO
underscore
under city
city
is
is
initial
initial,
message,
then
message,
display them, raise the error message.
enter a city name. Type error, sir.
E. Okay. And
Else,
then what about gender?
sir,
If p underscore, we don't pass any value in the gender and you are using it in the select statement, it may fail because there is no blank records with the empty gender value, right? If what when we observe the data here, let's see the data once. Is there any blank gender record here?
No, sir.
No,
No,
right?
sir.
So if you don't pass gender value and we are using in where condition, select statement will fail because it cannot find any blank value, right? So in this
Yes, sir.
case, we have to take parameter as a mandatory input.
Sir, in the first if condition, can we uh, directly combine if S4 underscore city and P underscore gender is initial like
Hmm.
that, sir?
Hmm. We can do that, not and, but we can use or. Either is blank, it will display error.
Okay, sir.
But we cannot display separate message, right?
Yes, sir.
In this
But a
case, it will
common
display.
message.
Common message will be displayed, but how can the user know what is missing? Message is not clear, right? Common message. So we need to provide exact message. What the user is, what's the user's error, what is he doing wrong, right? Or you can use else if condition. Else if and add this condition here. Test your validations. So we did not enter any gender value, so it is raising a error. But observe here, both inputs are enabled or not for input.
Yes, sir.
Both are in enable mode, right? But I want to highlight the parameter or select option which contains the error. I don't want to highlight everything. I want to highlight only the parameter with the error message, right? But here, but in this case, it is all the inputs all the inputs are enabled, right?
Yes, sir.
It is not clear which input I need to correct. So I should highlight this. I should highlight only gender. So how can you do that? So in the at selection screen, we have a additional event at selection screen on parameter name. Parameter name or select option name. At selection screen on city. Now I'll use one more statement for the other parameter. At selection screen,
So that is SOCT, sir.
sorry, so city. Please observe carefully. At selection screen on event. Can you please mute? At selection screen on for other parameter, that is gender. Now observe how it will display the error messages. Execute. Now I'm not passing any value to gender and try to execute. So it is raising a error message as well as it is highlighting only the parameter with the error, right? It disabled the rest of the input parameters. Parameters are select options. It disabled, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It is highlighted only the error, the parameter which we need to correct. Correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So yeah, we use Excel screen on event for that to highlight only parameter with the error. Okay, so that user will be clear, right? What he needs to correct. Since here we have only two parameters, two inputs, it is very easy to find. But in general, we might have 10 or 15 input parameters also for some programs, right? At the time, it would be easy for the user to correct the errors. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Let me remove the value in select option. In gender, I'll pass the value. Execute. Now it is highlighting only select option because we did not pass any data, and it is raising the error message. Okay, so what we need to use for that? Get selection screen on. Okay, clear? Now our validation part is completed. Now what is the next step? Data selection, right? Business logic. Select the data from different tables. I'll select all the records from master data table. What is the syntax? Into table.
Table
Did we define any
at the
internal
rate
table?
data.
No. We have to use the inline declaration at the rate data of internal table name. For example, LT underscore. I'll split where. What is the where condition? City. I think in this table, city field name is different. EMP city. EMP city. What is the syntax?
equal to the rate of
Equal to at the rate.
Equal to the rate of
Equal
data
to
In sir.
EMPC.
In sir.
in, not equal
In.
to. It is select option, right? For city, it is select option, not parameter. We need to use in. And we have one more input, right? For the same table, gender. What is the field
Sir.
name? Gender equal to parameter name.
Gender equals.
That's it. So first we selected the employee master data. What is the next data we need to select? Why I'm selecting only first employee master data? I'm selecting first. Can we select employee salary data first and then employee master data?
City and gender are in the employee data only, sir.
Yes. What are the inputs we are taking? These are in the employee master data. That's why I'm selecting employee master data first, right? Then I'll select corresponding salary data for these employees, right? Do we have uh, gender and city in employee salary data?
No, sir.
No, right? So I'm selecting by employee city and gender. So first I have selected the employee master data. Now I have records. Now I have employee records with the. So what are these records? Did we select all the records of the all the records available in the table? No, right? The records with city and this gender. Whatever the city we passed in the input and the gender what we passed. These records are corresponding to the input city and input gender, right? Now what is the next step? We need to select salary data for these employees, for the employees which you have selected in the first select statement. For not all the not for the all employees, right? We don't need to select all records available in employee salary data, right? We need to select salary data for only the employees which we selected in the first select statement. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes.
Only corresponding data for the records which we selected here, right? For that, how you can pass the where condition? Let's check. If s5 hyphen
Condition.
sub rc equal to 0, and if write select statement to select the employee salary data. Select empid, employee I'll select the same fields, or you can also select employee ID, employee salary month. I don't want salary year, and the salary from which table? Employee salary table into
At the rate into table.
Table.
table at the date of LT underscore EMP salary. Okay, what is the next step? Do you want to select all the records of the employee salary table? No, right?
No, sir. Only the records which I have selected from where
Employee
we have
master
given the
data table.
condition.
Yes. So it depends on that condition. We selected some records. Now we need to select salary data for those for only those employee records. How can you pass that condition here?
Where employee ID is equal to
Where EMP ID equal to EMP. Okay. Where employee ID equal to, yeah, what is the condition?
uh,
Now I want to
em-
select for only the employees which you have selected in the first select statement. How can you pass the condition?
ID EMP data I1 EMP ID, sir.
So what are we trying to say? Hey, I want to select. I've already selected some employees. I've already shortlisted some employees with specific parameters. Now I want to select salary data for those employees. So I've populated those selected employees to an internal table. Select salary data for only those employee records. Now that is what you are trying to say, right? For the next select statement, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now let's check. Just check the syntax. What it is saying? Escape symbol. That is okay. Let's use escape. Field LTEMP is unknown. Don't we have this field in this internal table? Yes, right? EMP ID is there, right? It is throwing error because we cannot directly pass internal table in where condition. We cannot directly pass like this. Like parameters are variables. If it is work area, yes, you can pass like this. ls underscore some employee data field. But we cannot pass internal table fields in the where conditions directly. So how can you pass? We have a special statement called for all entries. For all entries is the special statement we need to use. Which one? So what is the use of for all entries? Use it to select data from multiple tables using internal table data as a input. Okay. So what is the use of for all entries? We can select data from multiple tables by using which data as input?
Internal table.
Internal table data as input, right? Not parameters or select options. We can use internal table data as input. The records in the internal table as input for the select statement where condition, right? But there are some rules to use for all entries. Header internal table should not be
Empty.
blank. Header internal table should not be blank. What is the header internal table here in this example? What is the header internal table? Header level data we have.
Employee dot.
Employee
Data,
master
sir.
data. Employee master data. In this example, our header level data is employee master data. Then by using that header level data, we are selecting salary data, right? So this should not be blank. You should not pass blank internal table here, right? How can you check whether it is blank or not?
Insert.
What do you mean by subrs equal to 0 here?
That means it found some records
Found some
regarding
records or
our
not, right? So if subrs equal to 0 means the select statement is successful and it is able to select some records into internal table, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So it may not be blank in this case since we are checking the sy-subrc. But assume in some cases, for example, this employee ID is a non-primary key field. It's not a primary key field. Is it mandatory to have value for the non-primary key fields in the table? Non-primary key fields can be blank, right, in the table.
Yes, sir.
Only primary key values are mandatory to enter in the table. Non-primary key fields are optional, right? So if you are using non-primary key fields, subrc check is not enough. Okay, because you might have empty values for that particular field what you are taking. For example, employee ID is not a primary key field in both tables. In that case, employee ID might be blank, right? Even subrc equal to 0, you might get records with blank employee ID, correct? In that cases, only subrc check is not enough. We have to check another thing. Is initial check, is not initial check. Okay, we'll see that one by one. That is the first rule. Anyway, initial subrc check will okay. Now, what is the next rule to use for all entries?
What is header internal table, sir?
Hmm. Header internal table nothing but like what is the source data for employee salary data here? What is the input data you have? To select employee salary data, what is the input data you have?
ITMP data.
Employee master data, right? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is the header internal table here or source internal table. You can also call it as source internal table or input internal table. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
In this example, LTEMP data is the header internal table. In different examples, you might use a different internal table. For example, if you are selecting data by employee month, salary month, then first which select statement you are going to write? Select
LTMP
statement on
salary.
employee salary data, right? Then what would be the header
Okay.
internal table for the next corresponding select statements?
That will
Employee
be
salary data,
LTMP salary. Yes, sir.
salary data, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Okay.
So what is the second rule? Record should be in sorted order. Sorted order by which field?
Common field.
Selection. Where can
Whatever the field we are using in where condition. Here, what is the field we are using in where condition? Employee ID, right? Because that is a common field. As you said, common fields, right? Uh, should be in sorted order by common fields, right? That is the second rule. Are we sorting the data?
No, sir.
No. So what is the syntax to sort internal tables? Sort Sort is the statement to sort the internal table records by ascending or descending. We can sort the internal table records by ascending or descending. You know what is ascending and descending, right?
sir.
We can also sort by one field ascending and another field descending. We can also use multiple fields in sort statement. So what is the internal table I have to sort? This one, right? By which field in this example?
Employee
We need to sort it by
Employee ID.
employee ID because that is the common field we are using in where condition. Okay? We are sorting the internal table. What is the third rule?
No duplicate
Duplicates are not
Okay.
acceptable.
allowed.
No duplicates are allowed. How can you remove duplicates? Or how can you remove duplicates? For that we have a statement to delete duplicate records from internal table by specific fields or comparing all the fields. Let me show you how we can identify the duplicate records. In this example, we are taking employee header data, right? Master data. Now tell me what is the common field between employee master data and salary data? Employee ID, right?
Yes, sir.
If we sort it, let me sort ascending. So now we sorted it in ascending, right? What is descending sort? This is descending, right? We can sort either ascending or descending before going to use it in for all entries. Now, do we have any duplicate records here?
No, sir.
No, right? Since it's
No,
a primary key, there is no duplicate records. But let's assume there is another common field. The employee ID is not the common field, but gender is the common field between employee master data and salary data. Now we need to use employee gender, right, in where condition.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now if you sort it ascending or descending, let's assume these are all common entries. It is showing blank, but these are all same values. That's why it's not showing the values. Okay. So how many do we have duplicate entries or not? If you sort it by gender,
Sir, it has.
yes,
for
sir.
101, 102, 104, gender is same. Female, right? We have three records with the same value, right? Now it should not be allowed. We cannot use as it is in the for all entry statement because this employee gender contains duplicate records, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now what we need to do? We need to delete adjacent duplicates. Adjacent duplicates nothing but repeated values. We need to delete repeated values by that field. If you delete repeated values, how many fields will have? We will have only one record for each gender, right? If it is a non-primary key field. So how to delete duplicate records? Since anyway we are using employee ID, it's a primary key. There is no chance of duplicate records, right? If we are using non-primary key fields in the where condition, there is a chance of duplicate records, right? How can you delete? Delete adjacent duplicates from, this is the syntax, to delete duplicate records from the internal table. What is the prerequisite to use the delete adjacent duplicates? We have to sort it. First we need to sort the internal table and then only apply this delete adjacent duplicate statement. What is the use of this? To delete the duplicate records. Okay, it will delete all the duplicate records and keep the first record. It will keep the first record and delete rest of the duplicate records. Okay, clear? If you are deleting it by gender. Okay, from which internal table? LTEMP data. What is the comparison? comparing all fields. If you compare by all fields, do you have any duplicate records here? No, right?
No, sir.
But here in the for all entries, what is the field we are using in where condition? Employee ID, right? So we have to compare it by only employee ID, comparing employee ID. Or you can also use multiple fields, employee ID, employee name. When you are using these two fields in where conditions, you need to sort it by these two fields and delete duplicates from the by comparing these two fields and use those two fields in the where condition. Okay, when you have two common fields between this employee master data and employee salary data, sort by those two fields, delete duplicates by those two fields and use those two fields in the where condition. Okay, two or more, process same. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, is everyone clear, right? So we are following first rule, sorting, rule 2, and make sure no duplicate records, rule 3, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Sir.
But in some cases, we may need to use non-primary key fields. At the time, for rule 1, sub-RC check is not enough. We need to have if LT underscore EMP data is not initial, then only proceed further. Okay? Rule 1. Again, rule 1. We need to make sure there is at least one record in the header internal table. Okay? Now, for all entries in which table? Employee
Employee
master
master.
table. For all entries in employee escape, use escape since we are using new ABAP syntax. For the old ABAP syntax, you don't need to use this. Okay? Check the no syntax errors found. Right? What if you don't check this condition? When we are using for all entry statement, what if you don't check this statement and we pass a blank internal table in the where condition? What will happen? Is it going to fail?
Yes, sir.
No. It will ignore this where condition and select all the data from the table. It will create performance issues, right? So that's why we need to make sure there is at least one record in the header level or source internal table. Otherwise, it will ignore the where condition. It will try to select all the records from this employee salary table. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the next data selection? Employee month data, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the input to select employee month data?
Month.
Month, sir.
Month.
Month number.
Month ID, right? So, usually, how many months we have in employee master data? Sorry, months master data. How many records you can find?
And the number of records.
In employee month master data. Sorry, not employee
12,
month
sir.
master data. Month master data. How many records you can find?
12, sir.
12, only 12 records, right? So to select only 12 records, we may not need to do all these for all entries and everything, right? Because every time, anytime, you can find only 12 records, right? for in the month master data 1 to 12. So for all entries is optional here. You don't need to apply for all entries. Just to select only 12 records, right? You can directly write the select statement. Select star from select star from month master data. You can select all 12 records. Or if you want to apply for all entries, what we need to do, or I don't want to confuse today, first let's combine these two internal tables. Then in the other example, we'll see multiple 3, 4 tables, 5 tables. First, we'll merge these two internal tables. Okay. So we have employee master data and employee salary data. Now let's combine these two data into one single output. Okay. Now we have data, right? What is necessary? We should have one output structure, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We should have one output structure. How to define that? We can
Structured
use
begin of
type structures or create one data dictionary structures. What is the data we need? Just copy from the table. I'm selecting all the fields, right? I'm using select star. That's why I'm taking all the fields. Type, comma. If you can understand the process of merging two internal tables, it is same for n number of internal tables. The concept is same. Now select, we need employee salary data, right? What are the fields we need to display from employee salary data? I want to display only month and salary because employee ID is already coming from employee master data. Month, what is the other field? Salary. Do we need to take same field names in the type structure? Whatever the field names available in the table, do we need to take same field names? Field names can be different, or do we need to take same field names?
Field names can be different, but
Can be
data
different.
element.
Yes. In the type structure level, right, you can take any field name, but you need to make sure that data element is same, like table. Okay. When we take different field names, there is small adjustment we need to do. I'll show you that when we take different field names. Now, what is the next step? Define,
work area and internal table.
yeah,
Area
some
and internal tables.
final type standard ty underscore final comma. Define one work area. Okay. Now, so I've selected the data. I have my output structure. What is the next step? The data
Display
is in two
output.
different tables, right? The data is in two different tables. Now what I need to do, I need to merge these two internal tables data into one
Final.
single output internal table before displaying the output. How can you do that? For that we need to use a loop statement. First tell me on which internal table we need to apply loop. Is it on employee master data or salary data?
Salary.
Salary data, because employee ID values are repeating in employee salary data. Loop at lt underscore into, we need one work area, right, to loop. Do we need to define separately, or we can use inline declaration here? At the data ls underscore emp salary So please observe the difference. When we are defining internal tables or work areas in select statement, we are using a at the date symbol, escape symbol. But here in the loop statement, to define work area, we don't need to use this at the date escape symbol. Okay. So we are defining one work area using inline declaration. Otherwise, you separately need to define work area and use it here. What is the next step? First time, first month salary record will be um, moved into work area. Now what is the next step? Move your work area record into. So what is the common field between final output structure and this employee salary data? What are the common fields?
Employee ID.
No,
Month and
salary and
salary.
Salary month.
salary month and salary, right? Move those two fields. Final hyphen. What is the field name? Salary month equal to, what is the source value?
LS underscore AMP salary.
What is the field name here? I think it is same, right?
Yes, sir.
If you take different field names here, you need to do this field to field mapping like this. Okay. Source field equal to target field. For example, if you are taking different field name, you need to do like this. We are taking same field names like table, we have easy alternative. I'll show you that. What is the next field?
EMP salary.
Employee salary. These two fields are coming from employee salary, right? Whatever we have in the final output structure. Source data is from employee salary internal table. Now we have populated the employee salary data. Now what is the next data we need to populate to final output structure?
Data.
What is the next
Master
data?
data.
Employee master data fields, right? These fields we need to populate. From which internal table?
Employee data, sir.
Employee data internal table. But inside the loop, how can you get, can we directly populate like this? ls final hyphen emp id equal to lt emp data hyphen emp id. Can we directly populate like this from internal table?
No, sir.
No, right? First we need to move that record into work area. From work area we need to move that value to this final work area. Now tell me, how can you move internal table record into work area?
By
One way
using
is
read.
using loop statement, right? It will also move internal table records into work area, right? One by one. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
When we have multiple records. Now tell me, we are already looping one record. First record is placed into work area. For example, some employee ID 100 data, right? Now for employee ID 100, how many records you can find in employee master data? Only one record, right?
One record, sir.
One record, right? For in employee master data, you'll be having only one record. That's why, do we need to really loop it? No. We have a other statement called read. What is the use of read statement?
It
It
will
will
read only
place
one
only
record
one record from
in
internal table
table.
to work area. Only one record at a time from internal table to work area. It won't repeat. Okay. Read table. What is the next syntax? Internal table name into where you need to place that record. Define one work area. Which record you want? In employee master data, you'll be having multiple employee records, right? What is that employee record you are expecting? How can you pass that condition? Using with key. With key read table, internal table name into work area with the key, you need to pass the condition here. What is the condition here? Employee
Employee
ID
ID, sir.
equal to what is the source value? This one, the work area for salary data. Here we have already the employee record, right? Hyphen MP ID. Select employee ID which we are looping here. Okay. Then if sy hyphen sub rc equal to 0, what does this mean? If the read statement is successful, if we are able to find one employee record, the corresponding employee record in the internal table, then pass values to the final work area. Employee ID. What are the other fields we have? EMP name. Like this, map one to one field mapping. Do we really need to do one to one field mapping? Observe what are the field names you are using in select statement. Are you using same field names in the final output structure or not? Observe that. Are we using same field names in the final output structure? Yes, right? We are using same field names, whatever we are using in the table, right? We are not
Yes,
using
sir.
different field names. So in this case, what you can do, instead of doing this field to field mapping, simply use move corresponding, move corresponding ls underscore emp data to ls underscore final. What it will do? It will match field names from the source work area and the target work area, final work area, and it will move values for the corresponding fields. Okay, but performance wise, right, this field to field mapping is better than move corresponding, because we are directly providing what is the source field and target field, right? Yes or no? But here in move corresponding, it has to search for the matching field, right, in the target work area, and need to place the value in that field, right? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when we go for field to field mapping, if you have different field names, for example, in the final type structure, you have taken this as employee name, but here in the table it is EMP name. In this case, you have to do field to field mapping. If you use move corresponding, it cannot find the common field, right? Because field names are different. Now I have populated the employee salary data and employee master data. What is the next step? Append this final work area to final internal table, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And then clear the work area, final work area, and clear the final work area, and as well as the work area what we are using to read employee master data. Because next time for the second record, we should not keep any previous values. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Now what will happen? So employee salary data internal table will loop, and one by one each record will be placed in work area, and that will be populated to final internal table, and the corresponding employee data we are selecting using read statement. Now tell me how many times this read statement will execute?
Only one time, sir.
Um,
The number of times the loop
Number of times the loop
executes.
executes, read statement will also repeat. If you keep it out of the loop, if you keep this read statement out of the loop, it will execute only once, right? but you kept read statement inside the loop, right? So whatever the code you place in between loop and end loop, it will repeat for depends on the number of records in the loop statement. Yes or no? Right?
Sir.
So if there are 100 records in this employee salary internal table, so the loop will repeat for 100 times. Whatever the code you keep in between loop and end loop will repeat for 100 times. Right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So we are appending all the data to final internal table. Now display your output. For now I'll use CL demo output and display method. Is everyone clear on this?
Sir.
Sir.
Let's try to debug. Let's try to debug. I'll keep the breakpoint at data selection. Anyway, we have Hyderabad. Do we have any records? Hyderabad and gender combination. We need to. Sorry, it is salary data. For Hyderabad, we have only 2 records. With I think we'll take Mumbai example. Mumbai and gender as female. It has the multiple records. I'll add Mumbai as well. Female. Okay, I'll take 2 cities. Now execute. Go to desktop 3. F5. Sub RC 0. Now what are the records selected? How many records selected? 2 records with this combination. City and gender. We have to only 2 records with that combination. Right? Now sort the internal table. Sort is successful. Observe. Now what is the statement we are executing? Delete adjacent duplicates. I think we should have removed this. I forgot to remove this. Anyway, F5. What is sub RC?
For
For why it is failed? Why delete adjacent duplicates is failed? Because there is no chance of duplicate records, right? By employee ID, since it's a primary key field, right? We have only unique records in the internal table. That's why delete adjacent statement is failed. Okay, not able to find any duplicate records. Checking is it initial or not? We have one record, right? It is not initial. Then executing employee salary data. What is the where condition? Common field employee ID. F5 sub RC 0. So we have 3 records. I think we have maintained only for employee ID 101 and the employee salary data. Okay. Now we are looping employee salary data record. F5 first record. First record will be placed into work area, and then we are trying to read what is the employee ID 100 sub RC equal to 0. Read statement is successful, and we are moving this employee master data to final internal table F5, and we are appending that to final internal table. One record is appended, clear, and then second record, same process, right, and append. Third record. So how many times this loop will continue? Until
3.
all the records of the employee salary data is processed. Now we have 3 records in the final internal table. What is the final internal table structure? This one. It contains employee master data as well as corresponding salary data. Okay. Clear? So using similar logic, we can merge 4 internal tables or 5 internal tables, depends on the requirement, right? You need to use
Yes, sir.
loop. Inside the loop, we read the data and populate it to final internal table. Okay.